When you live in the south of Europe, there's a way you can look at the future right into the eyes, and it is by observing what's happening in the US. Whatever happens there is going to cause ripples through the Atlantic Ocean that are going to come all the way through this river onto this shore. Ripples in still water. That's why I'm interested in the American politics. That's why I've been interested in the American elections. As a person who's been leaning left for the majority of his own life, I want to share with you what struck me the most about this defeat and what is, according to me, the prime reason for their defeat. This is my subjective perspective. I think all the problems of the American left stem from a sense of entitlement, from a supposed moral superiority, and from a supposed ability to being able to usher the next utopia. This crystallizes in a very thick and distorted ideological lens that doesn't allow the left to have a firm view and a firm grip on reality. In the name of the next coming utopia, the left feels entitled to do pretty much anything. I'm going to talk about three things that struck me the most: the lies, the woke ideology, the relationship with the media, both the legacy media and the new media. Let's go over these three aspects very quickly, shall we? First, let's talk about the lies. The left lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. The left lied about serving in the military. The left lied about Trump being Hitler. The left lied about Joe Biden's mental condition. The left lied about working at McDonald's. Just waves of lies over lies over lies to cover up other lies. I think that people got tired of it. I think that people could see right through this BS, and people could see right through this facade of supposedly we are working for the greater good, you know. The next point I want to talk about is the woke ideology, because this is where probably the distortion of reality reaches its peak. And we can start from a basic fact. You cannot be an advocate for women's rights without being able to define one. You cannot allow men in women's sport. You cannot chemically castrate and mutilate young kids. And there is a message in the results of this election that speaks loud and clear to the left. You don't have the right to talk for the marginalized group. Let's stop dividing society into races. Let's stop dividing society into ethnicity, into genders. You cannot fractionate the whole population to the level of the individual. That's just not possible. You cannot take into account all the differences. I think a better solution would be if all these differences would be transparent. All people have equal rights, everyone can do whatever the heck they want. You don't have to think about race anymore. You cannot build a better world by waking up every day and saying to yourself, how can I bring and keep race at the forefront of my consciousness today? You cannot pick a candidate that no one voted and expect that people would vote for her just because she's black, she's a woman, she's not Trump. Because these are the three main features that the Democratic Party is selling us. I wouldn't care if the next president of my country is black, white, green, red. I wouldn't care if he's a man, a woman, or anything in between and beyond. All I care about is that he's a competent person and he has the good of the majority of people in mind, good of all the country in mind. That's all people is asking for. That's why they didn't buy into this BS, into this woke BS. As a cloud goes over the sun, let's talk about the relationship between the media and the Democratic Party. The majority of the media lined up with the Democratic Party. A testament to this are the softball interviews, and at the same time challenging and fact-checking Trump in a much harsher way. I just want to remind you that this is the same media that has been funded by Big Pharma.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
And this is the same media that in the very recent past tried to divide people between good and bad, between vaxxed and unvaxxed. And look, I don't really care where you stand, because that's not the issue. The issue is that from that point on, you could not have an open discussion about COVID, about vaccines, and now you cannot do the same with all this woke ideology. An open discussion is the salt of every democracy. If you try to silence people, if if you try to censor people, if you try to cancel people, that's not a democracy. So while you are accusing your political opponent of being a tyrant, you are behaving like a tyrant yourself. And let's talk about the relationship between the Democratic Party and the new media, the long-form podcast. One example above all, Joe Rogan. Trump went there, sat there, and talked for 3 hours without a teleprompter. Kamala Harris would have not been able to do the same. In fact, she asked Joe Rogan to come to her. She asked for a 45 minutes interview. Joe Rogan refused, and rightly so, in my opinion. Well, what did the media say? Joe Rogan refuses Kamala Harris. That allows Trump to go to his podcast. I mean, that's just craziness. And look, I'm very sorry from a purely human point of view for Kamala Harris, for her loss, for her defeat. But I don't think actually that she was really interested in the job. I didn't perceive, there was something off about her, let's put it that way. And I think you can realize that if you look and listen to her at every interview that she basically had. I don't know what she could have possibly said to Putin, to Xi Jinping, to, I forgot his name, the Rocket Man. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So in the end of the day, quite frankly, a party like that was doomed to be defeated, and rightly so. So even though I would not consider myself necessarily a right-wing person, but at this point, the left is just not defendable anymore. So you have to flee the left. There's no other option. You cannot reform it, I believe. You have to flee it and let it collapse. So in this instance, in this specific instance, I would have chosen Trump. And I think that the best candidate won. What do you think? Anyway, that's all I have to say on the topic. The sun went away, but I'm gonna go for a swim in any case. And I wish you all a good one. Peace.